Hi, my name is Michelle Carr. I'm here with JD Carr, and I'm going to discuss with him deadweight loss.
At the conclusion of the presentation, I will ask a few general follow-up questions just to get a complete and thorough understanding of the importance of deadweight loss.
Okay. Deadweight loss is a market inefficiency that occurs when the supply and demand price are not the same. Taxing causes deadweight loss because either the consumer or the producer will have to pay the tax. This tax will cause a discrepancy in the price of the supply and price of the demand. When the demand is elastic, it is more horizontal. Because of this, when the price increases due to the tax, the quantity will decrease, rather than when the demand is inelastic, where it will increase only slightly. This will cause a larger inefficiency. Deadweight loss can be stated as the loss of total welfare or the social surplus due to reasons like taxes and subsidies, price ceilings or floors, external and monopoly pricing. It is the excess burden created due to loss of benefits to participants in trade, which are individuals, or consumers, producers, or the government. A breakdown of deadweight loss of taxation. The difference between the imposition of new taxes and the total reduction in output due to these new taxes is the deadweight loss. After a tax is imposed, it forces the supply curve of some good, services, or consumer spendings left along the demand curve. A deadweight loss of taxation is customarily represented graphically. In other words, the change between two levels of output when measuring additional net receipts to the government is smaller than the loss in productive output, except in cases where the supply curve is perfectly flat or vertical. Imagine the U.S. federal government imposing a 40% income tax on all citizens. Through this tax, the government will collect an additional $1.2 trillion in taxes. However, those funds which are now going to the government are no longer available for spending in private markets. Suppose consumer spending and investment declined at least $1.2 trillion, and a total output decline of $2 trillion. In this case, the deadweight loss is $800 billion. $2 trillion total output less than $1.2 trillion consumer spending or investing equals $800 billion in deadweight loss. The cause of deadweight loss. Not everyone agrees deadweight loss can be accurately measured. However, virtually all economists acknowledge that taxation is inefficient and affects the free market. Taxes result in a higher cost of production or higher purchase price in the market. This in turn creates a smaller production volume than would otherwise exist. The gap between the taxed and the free tax production volume is the deadweight loss. Taxation reduces the returns from investments, wages, rent, entrepreneurships, and inheritance. This in turn reduces the incentive to invest, work, deploy property, take risk, and to save. It also encourages taxpayers to spend time and money trying to avoid their tax burden, further diverting valuable resources from other productive uses. Why do taxes create deadweight loss? Taxes create deadweight losses because the goods or services or transactions that they are levied upon inelasticity supplies or demand. This means that the imposition of the tax causes a change in quantity supplied. or demand, as well as change in price. This may be a bad thing if the item being taxed is one that is desirable, because less of the desirable item will be available when it is taxed. That is the dead weight. But it is possible to introduce a tax which does not create a deadweight loss. All that is needed is that it should be a tax on goods or supplies or transactions which are completely inelastic supplies or demand, such as tax not cause a deadweight loss.
So, just as a follow-up, what is deadweight loss?
Deadweight loss is the fall in total surplus that results from a market's distortion, such as a tax.
Okay, my second question is, why do taxes create a deadweight loss?
That would be because there is a fall in the total surplus after the imposition of the tax.
My final question is, what leads to a larger deadweight loss?
The more elastic the demand or supply, the greater the behavioral change in terms of quantity consumed and produced.
This concludes my questions. Very good job.
Thank you, and have a good night.